Hi everybody, it's Dave Rivas with the Roustabouts Theater Company, and on Monday, July 22nd at 7:30 p.m. at Scripps Ranch Theater, we will be having a staged reading of Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest, directed by Phil Johnson. And today we have a cast member from the show, Katee Drysdale. Hi Katee, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing good.
Very good. Thanks for joining us today. Now, the audience would like to get to know you a little bit going into this production. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been acting? How did you get started?
Yeah, so I've been acting and doing theater since I was a young child. I grew up in San Diego doing theater. So I started around 7 at Young Actors Theater. Shout out to them. They're still in Spring Valley. And then I went to school for theater and then came back here because what better place to do theater than San Diego, California. So yeah, that's a little bit about my trajectory. And now I have a day job too, but I'm a working actor in San Diego.
Excellent. Shout out to Sonoma as well, right?
Yes, Sonoma State. What's a seawolf? I am.
Right on.
You
Cool.
only know that if you're a seawolf, so never mind.
Excellent. So tell us about your character in The Importance of Being Earnest. Who do you play?
I am playing Cecily Hardew, and Cecily is the niece of Jack. And I really love this role, actually. I got to play this role my freshman year of college at Sonoma State. So almost 10 years ago now. So it's going to be really great to return to it, especially with a new, it's always interesting when you replay any role, especially when there's a 10-year age gap, because there's so many more things that you can bring to a character or nuances or things that maybe jokes that you understand a lot better now than you understood. So I'm so excited to revisit her sass and her sparkle and how I can channel that now as someone a little bit older.
Yeah, things have changed for you, so things are possibly going to change for the character. Speaking of that, are you like Cecily at all? At all?
I would say I can be pretty similar to Cecily. I can be pretty stubborn and indignant, and I can make emotional decisions that are, coming from the ego rather than logic. So there's totally a lot of Cecily in me. And I think also just Cecily's she's confident and she's flippant. And so I think parts of me are like Cecily, and then a lot of parts of me want to be more like Cecily too.
Okay. So speaking of change, this production on Monday night is going to be a little different than your typical traditional Oscar Wilde production of The Importance of Being Earnest. So you could tell us a little bit about that if you like, and how that might change your character or the production.
Yeah, I can share a little bit. So it's going to be an exciting change and new vision on the importance of being earnest. And we're definitely going to throw a little spice in there. And it's going to be, you'll see some of our cast, you'll ask yourself, are we watching Real Housewives? And then the rest of our cast will be like, that seems like the importance of being earnest. So I'll leave it at that. And it's going to be a really fun adventure to let those dynamics take course for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I was going to ask you, well, why do you think people should come and see this this version, but now I know, because that's amazing. That's actually a brilliant move, because Oscar Wilde, he would make fun of the classes and the establishment, and he would get in trouble for doing that kind of thing. And so to bring it into the now and modern times, or maybe, we're not saying that's going to happen, maybe not, but that's actually a really exciting addition to the production.
I think he would approve.
Yeah, most definitely. So do you have a favorite moment since you've done it before, do you have a favorite moment from the show, or a favorite line from The Importance of Being Earnest?
You know, I don't have a particular line of Cecily's, but I can share my favorite quote from Oscar Wilde. Or it's been said that this was his final quote on his deathbed, was either the wallpaper goes or I go, which I love him. And I feel like that quote is just such a testament to the brevity that he carries with him in his plays and the characters that he writes, and that there's always, when the stakes are high, there always has to be comedy. There's no high stakes without comedy. But yeah,
absolutely, I love that. So have you done work with the Roustabouts Theater Company before?
I actually just did my first project with Roustabouts. I did a staged musical, Falsettos, and we did that at the JCC, and that was just a couple of weeks ago, I think a few weeks ago. But yeah, it moves fast in the theater world, we know.
And you got to work with Phil Johnson. Was that your first time working with Phil?
That was my first time working with Phil. I had met Phil after a show I did at Scripps Ranch, Lost in Yonkers, and I had met him after the show. And so we've been kind of briefly corresponding back and forth, and then I finally got to work with him on Falsettos. And now I get to do this, and so I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to hopefully more collaboration with him.
And so going into this, what do you think you're most excited for going into this production of The Importance of Being Earnest? I'm
really excited to work with everyone that we have in this cast and on this team. It's such a talented group of people. And so I'm excited just to be in the room with them, and it's going to be a hard room to focus in. We have such a short amount of time for rehearsals, and everyone is going to be so funny. It's going to be really hard to stay focused. So I'm really looking forward to just the fun and joy that this is going to be to work on. It's one of those projects that, sometimes you do some shows that you're like, okay, this feels like work. I enjoy it, but it feels like work. And then other times where you're like, man, this felt like a summer camp almost. So I'm really looking forward to that.
All right. So in all of your theater productions and all the roles and all the shows, what's the craziest, most outrageous thing that's happened?
I did a production called Abraham Lincoln's Big Gay Dance Party. And at some point, all of us were Gabrahams. And there was different versions of Gabraham. There was a gay roller skating Abraham Lincoln, bunch of different. At one point, and it was in a courtroom scene, I had to be the pogo sticking Gabraham. And so I had to pogo stick in my top hat and my Abraham suit and pogo stick on stage, across the stage. So past me, I can travel pogo stick. And as a chicken was also running across the stage. So that was an interesting tech for that production. It was crazy. But I think that's the craziest thing I've ever had to do on stage.
Just the tech was crazy? What? Here, wait, here. Take my money. I want to see that show right now. Here, do it again. I'll produce it. Oh,
Dying for someone in San Diego to produce that show. It is such a good play, and it's relevant right now. So
oh my
I hope
God.
you're listening, theater companies, to this.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, maybe you can do Cecily in roller skates this Monday night and bring your pogo stick.
Honestly, I'm not going to make any promises. You'll have to come and see.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Katee. And make sure to come out and see Katee Drysdale this Monday night, July 22nd at Scripps Ranch Theater at 7:30 p.m. in The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, directed by Phil Johnson. For tickets, go to theroustabouts.org. See ya.
Bye.